Right, it's time for the paper review now. Let's take you across headlines, across papers in Nigeria. And we have joining us one of our regulars, leadership and communication strategist, Dotun John. Dotun, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
Very well.
All right, it was a rainy weekend where I was.
Rainy weekend, but the election in Osun kept us...
Exactly. Kept everyone warm and hot, depending on where you are. All right, let's begin with the Punch newspaper. PDP others cake as INEC declares Osun state election inconclusive. Electoral body fixes Thursday for rerun in 7 polling units across about 4 local government areas.
Yes, normally things that...
Not everybody is still happy that INEC declared it inconclusive.
Of course, but people at the other side are happy. People in APC are obviously happy. Because if INEC had declared PDP winner, then it will not be the same song for them. But again, I do not generally like to talk on issues that I do not have control over. If PDP is angry about the inconclusiveness of the election, the best thing to do this morning, by 8 o'clock, I expect them to be in court this morning. You don't need to wait till Thursday.
It's not 8 o'clock yet. So,
so go to court. Don't go to court because INEC will not reverse itself. No matter the argument, INEC will not reverse itself, especially when they have a provision in the Electoral Act that they actually rely on. So the best thing to do for PDP now, if they are not really happy with what's on ground, is not to wait after the Thursday's election.
No, but the reality is, if they have to go to court now, it means they have to pen that election.
Of course they will.
That's all things not being equal, maybe.
Of course
they might not get the ruling before Thursday.
They will not. They will not get the ruling before Thursday. But that will be better if at the end of the day, if they lose the election, that means they will go to tribunal.
The fallout of that
and that is
now,
going to be longer, either we like it or not.
Might be, because we have to take into cognizance the fact that an handover has to take place in November.
In November,
so
exactly.
If we go to the court now, we're going to have a total constitutional disaster in our hands.
The good news about that is that the judicial system will know that they need to expedite action and make pronouncements.
That's true. I agree with that. All right, moving on. National Assembly postpones resumption to October 9. That was expected, isn't it?
Of course it is. Okay. And you know, the other time everybody was talking about the leadership of the National Assembly, they are this, they are that. And I said, when they went on recess, everybody in the House, everybody, at least everybody that was present that day, said yes. They needed
it was based on majority?
It was based on majority. So we should not demonize anybody and make a scent out of anybody. Even the people that are now kicking against it were there when they fixed the date.
And
it is obvious now that the primaries have not been conducted in both political parties, and what is paramount to an average politician is the next election, not what you are thinking about.
The leadership of the House appears to be playing the game accurately. They're waiting for the primaries to be over.
Exactly.
By that time, the permutation will become.
Of course,
because the man, I'm just thinking, the man going for president now, for example, the man going for president, if he faced to become the candidate of PDP, where does he run to? So these are some of the permutations that need to take place.
All right, 2019 polls, foreign investors withdraw 435 billion naira from stock market. Okay, sentiments and speculations and all of that.
Let's check the front page of the Vanguard for a bit, and the top story here: 3,498 voters, Obishare, Lasun, others to decide. Heritage Bank wins 3 awards in Greek SME sectors. How Skybank lost 2 trillion naira of assets. That's on page 19. It appears the inconclusive nature of this election has taken the shine away from the hard work the umpire INEC put to this exercise.
Yes, to a reasonable extent, but you and I will also agree that I doubt whether in recent times, whether we've had an election that at least is peaceful. The Osun people have said it repeatedly that they are known for their peace, not a volatile environment. I schooled and spent some part of my life there, and I understand the way the people reason. But again, like you said, unfortunately, the people we are looking onto now are not the major contenders. And when I mean major contenders, I mean the candidate of the PDP and the APC, because to a certain extent, they may not be the one that will decide where the pendulum will eventually move to on Thursday, if INEC decide to actually hold the election on Thursday. So these are some of the intricacies that are involved. And I know that parties now will begin to learn their lesson when your members are saying they are going and you just say, okay, bye-bye.
Exactly.
Now
There's
you
a
will
big lesson
learn your lesson. Because if the Adeoti man had remained in APC, for example, if they were calculative and strategic enough, I said this thing repeatedly.
If the SDP man had remained in the PDP, we wouldn't be having this discussion at all.
Possibly, we may not be having all this.
Exactly.
So, party now must continue to understand that each and every member of your organization actually
Matters,
counts.
exactly. Because they say politics is a game of
It's a
number.
number.
So one extra vote
I think over
matters.
time, Mike, why some of the parties behave like that is because over time they know that they can just change figures. You know, we are not used to doing
Yeah,
things
but that is
the way-
changing now.
Of course it is.
That is
Remember,
changing.
Emmanuel said
It
he
is.
wouldn't lose sleep about people decamping. I'm sure he didn't sleep on Saturday. And things like that will change now.
All right, let's move on now to the Daily Sun is our next paper. Osun Guba, PDP APC go for a rerun on Thursday. Well, we've talked much about this. FIRS, that's the Federal Inland Revenue Service, rakes in 13 billion naira from billionaire tax debtors. Anambra gully erosion threatens court, federal secretariat, and others. Well, when it comes to the erosion in the east, it's a very terrible situation, I must say.
It is, and at every point in time, there's what we call the Ecological Fund.
Yes.
That is supposed to, and I can tell you, Mike, because it got to a point that I got very, very disturbed. I also got to know that some of the governors will actually get this Ecological Fund and use it for other things. You understand? So it's not a question of the federal government most of the times not releasing some of these funds, but the challenge is that we need to hold our leaders responsible. When you get to Abuja and you get a particular fund for something, you must use it. And that's the rascality many of them extended to the issue of salary payment when they got bailout from government. And instead of them, they said 70% or so should go for salary. And
But on the other hand, I
many of them
think
didn't use it
the federal
well.
government, on the other hand, has to come up with a mechanism. Any kind of fund that requires a counterpart's involvement
Must be monitored.
must be monitored.
Yes.
That's the issue.
You know, because over time, too, the federal government has its own rascality. So it's a combination of two rascality. So they cannot totally...
So where the federal government doesn't have a moral standing
you understand?
to,
The governors
it is a
are
pure
also-
hand that can actually question some dirty hand. But when you know there are some monies, too, that are in your coffers that are meant for some project that you have diverted it, even most times without approval from here and there. You know, that's what caused problem even in the last administration, that the governors had to come together, that the federal government did not have the power to spend, what was it called, the reserve fund, that was it, the sovereign fund.
The sovereign wealth fund.
You see?
The governors are no doubt under pressure because most of them who can pay salaries and who have infrastructural projects, they will tell you this money was borrowed precisely for this purpose and we can't pay salary with them. So then when they get funds, they call it ecological fund, I mean, they also would be smart with the way they dispose it,
You see,
especially to
Well,
meet their primary
it's
and
unfortunate
urgent
we've
needs.
gotten to that level where they are pinned to a corner, because at this point elections are coming, and they're looking at how much salaries have I owed, or how much have we paid, and all of that. What will be the impact of that on my candidacy going
Yes,
forward?
I know that.
When they've not delivered on salaries and they've not delivered on infrastructural projects and promises.
They're under pressure to divert funds.
All right, I think we'll move to the next day paper now.
Let's check the Nation newspaper, and the stories everywhere. Osun, APC, PDP, trade words, parties in row over INEC's declaration of election as inconclusive. FRS rakes in 13 billion naira from billionaire tax debtors. 377 ward chairman endorse Sanwo-Olu. That's in page 7. And Shagamu sleeps as Joshua beats Povetkin. Joshua is in another form.
He has fought 22 bouts,
Undefeated
and he
in
has
24.
never been defeated. It's
That's-
really interesting.
That
Pretty
is the
amazing.
spirit of an average Nigerian. You know, I was going for lunch
Now
one day.
is an average Nigerian.
Of course, that's the spirit. It's just an extension, you know. And everybody.
But that's the spirit.
If he
That's
had
a Nigerian
committed-
spirit.
If he had
the guy wasn't
committed any crime,
if the guy was in jail in somewhere in
trace him
Britain,
to us.
that's not the spirit of
that is the
Nigeria.
style of
No,
the Western
I
media.
totally agree.
You understand? That's the
Yeah,
spirit.
I agree.
You see, I was going for lunch and I had to take Okada within the neighborhood. And the guy was telling me, and we got talking, and he said, this is the third Okada I will buy. I said, what happened to them? He said, immediately I bought one. I bought one for 150,000. I was surprised that I don't know that motorcycle is that expensive.
expensive?
He said the first day I started using it, he said there was tax force people collected it. He said, I went to my village, I bought another one. So Nigerians, they have this spirit
Yeah.
of not giving up.
That's
Exactly.
right. And I
that's the
think
spirit
the
of
wider
every
game is
Nigerian.
really going to establish whether he's the undisputed champion of the world.
That's where we are going.
We're getting there. Okay, the point is our next paper now. Osun, how we rendered federal might useless. Indigenes, these are voices from the indigenes of Osun State. Now, CUPP, that's the COP, holds emergency synergy meeting. We're ready for rerun. APC is saying that and declare Adeleke winner now. PDP tells INEC. Well, I wouldn't want us to go much into this again. We've talked about it over and over again. One disturbing headline here says over 16% Nigerians commit suicide yearly. WHO is revealing this.
Over 16%. It's actually a sad reality that we do not have the stats within our nation. We may not be able to say that this is that because I have disputed it several times that we do not even know, we do not have the accurate figure of what the population of the nation is at this moment in time. So that's why you cannot totally actually dispute some of these reports that are coming in here and there. But it's a sad reality because the people, when you have about 70% of your citizens living under the poverty line, then issues like this will begin to come up. I said it, I've been on this case since 2014, that see what China and India did, it was not as a result of being more productive than us. In 2014, they were ahead of us in terms of poverty index. There were more people living in abject poverty in India and in China. But between now and now, suddenly we overtook them simply because of the fact that the United Nations says that for us to solve the problem of poverty, at least to a reasonable extent, we need to allocate more resources to people living in abject poverty. But our own style of reallocation and allocation of resources is when you are wealthy, the society automatically allocates more wealth for you. And that's why I'm very happy with the FRS story, that billionaires are now paying tax. It is strange. The people I know that have money don't get to pay tax. It is people like us that they will force us to pay tax from the office. They come to our house to lock it. If you
I guess the trends are changing now.
Well, we must probe the figures. I mean, the last time Angela Merkel, was Angela Merkel? No, it was Theresa May who was saying that Nigeria has the highest population of poor people in the world. We need to get our statistic right. If 10% of Nigerians are committing suicide, if you put the figure, loosely at 100 million, that's 10 million. I mean, how realistic is that?
But you will not get to hear them.
The point there is not all of these things.
You don't get to hear about 10 million people killing themselves.
Not all of these things get out there. You understand? Everything is based on the average. The average of what is going on. Now, suicide does not only translate to that person who hangs himself or who, slit his throat or jumps into the lagoon. Exactly. There are so many people taking tramadol just because they have one issue or the other and render themselves useless.
They are not useful to the society.
That can be a technical suicide.
See, there's nothing I will not believe when it comes to poverty because each day I wake up, the first thing that greets me good morning is poverty, depending on where you live. So when you release figures like that, I believe, because that's what I see every day, it's sad.
I think let's move on so we can round off.
Let's check the Daily Trust. Not much is happening here. Osun election rerun holds Thursday. National Assembly postpones resumption to October the 9th, and experts speak on today's MPC meeting. Apparently, the Osun story is everywhere, but all eyes are on the National Assembly. The APC saying that there is no way Saraki can remain president of the Senate.
They don't know their
I'm not sure we've heard much about that in recent times.
You see, I said it. I have repeatedly said it. That see, it's a matter. Mike said it this morning. It's a game of number. Don't come to newspapers to shout and make noise that this is what you're going to do. Once you have the number, go in there and remove the man. It's as simple as that. Suddenly, I don't know how we got to this point of every newspaper we carry, we now leave issues and be discussing people. And we have made the Senate president even as popular unnecessarily.
But apparently, it appears that the postponement, and no doubt will have some impact on primary elections in all political parties.
You don't know that it's strategic. Even those people come on television to say they don't like the postponement. Within the National Assembly, they like it. Until they have their second time ticket, whether you are in PDP or APC, nobody will say, see, the next election is what is paramount in the heart of. I don't want us to divide PDP, APC, Afghan. Every one of them now. That's why you see a governor. For example, you have been a senator before. You are governor for 8 years, and suddenly you are waking up, you say you are returning to Senate. What did you leave there? What did you leave there? So it's next election.
You're saying...
it's governance.
You're saying that apparently lawmakers are more concerned about getting a second term
Every
than doing the
politician
business
is
of
concerned
legislation.
about the next election. Unfortunately, why most of these things pain me is because of the fact that experience will always produce one kind of result. This is 20th century medication that we are applying to 21st century ailment. We can't get the best of result.
Yeah.
We cannot.
All right, we expect change for the better. Let's move to the last paper for today. New Telegraph is our paper. Osun shocks APC Aregbesola. All right, INEC declares Guba poll inconclusive, orders rerun in 5 polling units. PDP to INEC declare Adeleke winner. Now, APC begs voters, 3,498 voters to determine Adeleke Oyetola's fate on Thursday. How the battle was fought by PDP, APC, SDP, and others. Okay, and Saraki seconds Atiku cake over the outcome of the election, and electoral officer escapes lynching. And then there's a breakdown. I like the way Telegraph puts it. There's a breakdown of all the
figures,
the outcome of the election based on local government, what PDP got and what APC got.
It is a result like this that shows who the contender and the pretender.
Yeah. Are you sure anyone is pretending at the polls?
Well, just look down and see the figures.
But it's really interesting anyway. And then the National Assembly shifts resumption to October 9. Then we have other headlines here. Kwankwaso picks son-in-law for Kano PDP Guba ticket. That sounds similar.
Is it me or
that sounds similar. Like.
That looks like an emo. What happened in Imo
Can we
State?
quickly talk about the breakdown before? Yeah, you know, in strategy, the best thing to do now for any strategic person is to actually bring this figure and begin to say this is the stronghold of PDP and this is what we are going to do. But in reality, it is not usually like that. You may actually turn out to win in a particular local government during the real election, and for the runoff, you may not get, because we cannot, in fact, facts state that you cannot read the mind of people that have not done an action. In other words, if somebody has not cast a vote, you may not be able to totally say that this person, if they had cast their vote, that they were going to vote for me. So in strategy, we stay with this, but in reality, we cannot tell. We cannot tell.
We wait to see what those at Orolu local government, if North, if South, and Oshogbo. We wait to see how they.
And it's interesting to know that there are just about 3,498 voters who are going to determine the fate of who becomes the next governor.
We wait to see.
The power is really in the hands of the
power
voters.
in the hands of the voters. Okay. Unpaid rents. Landlords give quit notice to Ondo Judiciary. All right. Those are developments from there. 3 months after Raskimono's wife, Effie, dies. That was really sad news we got yesterday.
Very sad news. Very sad news.
Very sad times for the family.
You cannot interpret or explain such a story. But in my village those days when we were growing up, if an old man dies, you can be certain that the wife will follow. Yes, that was the occurrence then. And they said, usually, traditionally, they said they have one soul. Maybe that's what has actually played out in this case. It's a sad.
It's really sad. All right, this is where we end it now. Dotun, thank you so much for coming on the program. Wish you well. Have a great day ahead. Thank you. All right, we come back on the show shortly, and then we kickstart with the Osun debate discussions. Is a debate out there. Is ongoing. In fact, the debate is ongoing, I must say.
The debate just got started.
Exactly, because everyone is talking, PDP is talking, APC is talking, CUPP is talking, and all of that. So it's really a debate on the streets. Stay with us now.